Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 419 at scavengerlife.com.
So, Ryan, I wanted to start off by, I haven't told you I want to do that. I would like to talk about my stuttering.
Yes, I looked at the outline.
Oh, you did? Oh, you saw it. Okay.
I'm a professional podcaster. I know what's happening.
I just assumed that I was the only one that saw that. So, we've been doing this podcast for, 5 years now?
Yeah, okay. 5 years.
Every week. I think we've missed 3 weeks.
We've missed, almost nothing.
Yeah. And, people out there, we have a lot of people that have, heard us for a while. They've probably heard me use, weird word combos and filler words and,
sure.
I speak strangely sometimes. And that's mainly because I try to avoid stuttering,
right.
But for the past couple months, I think, people have probably noticed that I have been openly stuttering on this podcast.
Right. That might be a surprise to them, what is that?
It's on purpose, and people are probably thinking, what's wrong with you, So we actually got an email from a listener.
Yeah.
It's anonymous, but I'm assuming it's a guy, but I think only a guy.
Only a guy would write this email.
Okay, he says, I love the podcast. Thanks for your efforts and insights. Jay, just a little constructive criticism. Your stutter is tremendously distracting from your message. With all the free information on speech therapy online and on a YouTube, there's no reason not to get that taken care of.
Yeah.
When you are speaking fluidly, you sound awesome and confident with a clear message. Investing a bit in your own self-improvement would have a transformational effect on the podcast as a whole, and not to mention countless other aspects of your life.
Okay.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Anonymous. I just want to say, first of all, I don't know what you thought of that email. I thought it was extremely rude.
Okay.
And insensitive.
So I think this guy doesn't mean any harm.
Sure.
I think he's just trying to, give me some advice. And here's the deal. The only reason why I bring it up is because I think if people are going to listen to our podcast every week, they should know, what's going on. And I think this is an opportunity for me to educate some people.
Yes, I love the education. I think this person definitely needs to be educated.
Okay, so let's get educated. So about 1% of the U.S. population stutters. In some West African countries, it's up to 4%.
Huh.
No one knows why people stutter. There is no... They can't figure out why. They believe it's pretty much genetic, but they don't actually know. And I just want to be clear, stuttering is not about being nervous or speaking too fast.
Right.
It's like Tourette's.
Right.
It's a neurological issue that I have.
Right. So part of that email, I think that upset me, was that someone thought that you were nervous or something.
Let's not focus on the email because
right.
I don't want to make this he's a bad guy.
Okay.
I just want to educate people in general because I find stuttering is not very commonly talked about. It's still one of those things where it's okay to laugh at it and make fun of it,
right.
on TV or movies. You know, so I can see what I want to say in my head.
Sure.
But my mouth doesn't want to work the way I want it to. And no amount of breathing differently or speech shaping is going to help. I mean, and there is no cure for it, like a movie, The King's Speech.
Right.
Cool movie. It was
really,
very cute.
really interesting.
I mean,
yeah.
It's an interesting movie because the king doesn't ever get cured. The whole story is about this kind of wacky speech therapist helps him do all these tricks to get through this one important speech.
Sure.
But that's all. I mean, at the end, he's stuttering all over again.
Well, the key word there is tricks.
Right. And so...
It's not cured. There's no
for me
cure.
as a kid, I mean, I was stuttering as a little kid, definitely much worse than I do now. And... my parents tried to send me to speech therapy, and this was in the 80s, and hasn't really gotten much better since then that I've heard. And they try and teach you tricks.
They
basically, what I was told was, I remember I was put in a room with a therapist, and they have a tape recorder, and they have me read.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm stuttering. Sure. And then they play it back to me. And the therapist is basically showing me what I'm doing wrong. Like, I'm being taught that my stuttering is bad.
Right.
And so I learned very quickly that I should not stutter in front of people. You know?
Or say those specific words or whatever.
Nobody ever told me that it's okay to stutter.
Yeah.
You know, and so I became my own worst critic, and I, you know, taught myself I should never stutter. So I taught myself a lot of tricks on how to not stutter. And a lot of that people can probably, if they've heard me a lot, just all these weird, inefficient ways I can speak. And those are all ways for me to get through things that I think I'm going to have problems on. So I may not be stuttering, but I'm not always saying what I want to say.
Right.
And it's very frustrating,
you
know. And, you know, I'm 46, so up until fairly recently, you know, I've been living with this the only way I knew how. And it creates, they call it like the iceberg, you know. The stutter is what you see on top, but people don't see everything underneath. And it's a lot of stress and shame and anxiety.
Right.
And, you know, that's hard to live with.
Well, I do want to say this, though. Like, what's interesting to me, and, you know, you and I have been together for 15 years. And, you know, when we first got together, I mean, something that we were doing, you were a teacher, and you also spoke at conferences. Like, that was our life. So I'm kind of like, it's kind of shocking to hear this, you know, in the last, you know, year and a half that you've been, you know, researching and
seeking help
and talking to people. Is that I'm like, really? I didn't know any of those. I mean, I knew that you had a stutter, that you stuttered, but it was like, to me, it never stopped you from speaking.
I mean, I've done my best to do everything I've wanted.
And we have a podcast
to do, right? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that it can be very uncomfortable for me.
Of course.
And
it's always there.
Yeah. So I have been going to therapy, like this gentleman suggested, to change my life in tremendous ways.
Yes, that was
transformational effects. I agree.
Transformational.
But I found a woman that has this program called ART, and it's avoidance reduction therapy.
Yeah.
And her idea is, and it makes so much sense to me, is to get rid of all the ways I avoid stuttering.
Yep.
You know, all the ways that make my speech very inefficient. You know, and to desensitize myself to the shame that stuttering causes me. You know, this is the first person I'd ever met that said, it's okay to stutter. And so on Saturdays, you know, I've been going to, I actually drive like over an hour away, and I meet with other groups of, a group of people who stutter.
Yep.
And we just talk to each other, and we openly stutter, and some people stutter worse than others, and, you know, and we talk about everything. I had never before, I was 45 years old, really ever known anyone that stuttered. I had met a couple people here and there casually, but I would like run away from them as fast as I could because they were reminding me of who I was, and I wanted to be someone that didn't stutter. Right. So it's just like any kind of support group. It's really helpful, but you know, this therapist is there as well, helping out. You know, so what I've been trying to do is just to be more open about it.
Yeah.
To be willing,
that's part of what she talks about.
To be willing to tell people that I'm a person that stutters, and to be able to stutter openly.
Right.
And once I can do that, I take away the stress and anxiety. I say exactly what I want to say, even if I may stutter.
Like, I think what's interesting too, because I've sat in on the sessions before and talked to people and just been there, which is great. They're great people. You know, it's not like you would stutter around me. like, I think people are like, oh, well, you just don't, like, stutter around people you don't know. No, it's like, you avoided it all the time. Like, I would think that we're the most comfortable people, like, in the world to each other, and you still didn't do it. Like, I started noticing just recently that I'm like, you're open stuttering around me, and then it, like, whatever, it bubbles out to the rest of the world, because at first it wasn't everybody. So
and I know I have so much shame and guilt over the fact, like, as long as we've been together, very often when we meet people in public, you have to introduce me, because saying my name is one of the hardest things in the world to me, and that's very shameful. I don't want to put you in that
really hard
situation. It's talking on the phone is very difficult.
It's so
for me.
funny because I hate talking on the phone just as like an awkward, like social awkward thing. But you talk on the phone all the time, and you're great on the phone, which is. But I understand. Well, I think I just want to say this because the first time I ever met your therapist, she said to me, "Oh, some partners and spouses never know that their partner stutters," and I'm like, "What?" I don't understand what that means, but I'm like, the avoidance is so strong and so powerful that even the closest people don't know.
And it takes a lot of like mental and emotional energy to hide that from people.
Exactly. Even like people who are around you every single day all day.
So I had to come to a choice. Do I want to keep a living like that where I think I'm fooling people? Which I don't think I ever really was, but I'm fooling people that I don't stutter, but I am just like emotionally drained and
exhausted.
Waking up in the middle of the night at 3:00 before I know I have to like talk at a meeting. And I'm gaming out what I'm going to be saying and how I'm going to be saying it. That's stressful. Or do I just accept that I stutter, open stutter in front of people, and if I don't make it a big deal, most other people aren't going to make it a big deal because it's just, one of those things.
Well, I mean, also it's really hard to try that. I mean, I'm not you, but it's like the choice to be like, either you're going to lose sleep and stress over it, or you're just going to be like, forget it. I'm just going to try it.
I mean, so I'm just trying to learn to talk with the stutter, with who I am. And so I stop avoiding talking or situations where I have to talk. Then I feel more comfortable. Then I'll just have more, instead of these long, like, blocks, they call them.
A block,
I just have fluencies. And the goal really is just to speak spontaneously.
Just say the word.
I don't have to, like, pre-think everything I'm going to say. I don't have to like think of 15 different words I can use so I can pick the one I'm not going to stutter on.
Like you introduced yourself the other day to someone. I was standing right there and I was like, "Hi, I'm such and such," and I'm about to be like, "And this is Jay." And you were like, you just like stepped right up and introduced yourself, and you totally stuttered your name, but you were like, I'm gonna stick through this and do it. And I knew that's what you're doing. I was like, he's doing it.
So if you have been noticing that maybe I stutter, and if it makes you feel uncomfortable, it's because it's on purpose. It's a good thing.
It's on purpose
for me. It means I'm feeling good, and that this is who I am. And it's a work in progress. But
look, I know there are people listening to this podcast who are people who stutter.
Maybe
I guarantee you, we are going to get emails. And people are going to raise their hands.
So and this is the final like PSA here. If you meet someone who stutters, don't tell them to slow down or take their time. Don't say it's okay and pat them on the arm while they're trying to get out. Or don't complete their sentences thinking you're helping them out.
I think I've done that.
Just
before.
Look them in the eye and listen to them.
And just wait.
And just wait and let people talk, and you will see it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
That's all.
I think that's a great PSA.
This is a podcast about eBay, but maybe people...
Yeah, but like, obviously it's an audio podcast about us.
Right.
And our lives as well. So I think it's pretty important.
Let's talk about eBay. So we were going to an auction this week.
Oh my God.
Pretty big deal for us. We stayed overnight somewhere. We had to be in town anyway, so we were going to turn it into also an auction trip.
Thank God.
And it was a bust. It was all furniture.
Now
no table lots.
I just want to say, we love furniture. We often need furniture for our rentals, and I do sell furniture. At this moment in time, I don't need any furniture.
It was the first time I'd ever been to an auction where it was only furniture. And the thing he said was, it was the holiday, and so they didn't have time to put stuff out.
It was like 4th of July the week before or whatever.
So anyway, the cool thing is, though, is that we met another scavenger who has listened to our podcast.
This is so funny.
It doesn't happen very often to us.
So I'm literally walking out of the auction to leave because I'm like,
See ya.
Which never, especially this auction's 2 hours away from us. I'm walking out and someone turns to me, says my name. I'm like, nobody at this auction knows my name. I don't even get the card at the front desk. It's always Jay. So they don't even know my name. I was like, what? She's like, I listened to your podcast. I was like, oh my God.
But it was great. We ended up talking for 20 minutes or something, half an hour and it's just amazing.
eBay.
She works by herself.
Yes.
She runs a full-time store.
High-end.
Incredible. And she kind of does what I've always talked about doing, where she will stick around for the part of the auction where they're selling off the more expensive stuff.
Like art.
And she doesn't sell, like a lot of people who are fairly new will start selling clothes. Right. And she doesn't sound like she's ever done that. She's only stuck with like art and
high-end sculptures, furnishing.
And she's into like packing weird big things. Yep. And she talks about getting really good deals because no one wants to pack this thing. And I'm like, oh my God, she's like so awesome.
It's amazing.
So it was really cool to meet her. So if she's hearing this, hi, we didn't get your email or anything.
We didn't get your email, so
we really would want you and your boyfriend that owns like a lot of real estate to come in and visit us. We'd love to talk to you about eBay and real estate. So.
I mean, like, what the most perfect combination? I'm like, eBay, real estate. Let's talk.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about all the things.
Yeah.
So please email us, thescavengerlife at gmail.com.
This week, it happened just today. Our store of like 8,400 items was suspended.
No, it was not suspended.
It was suspended.
It was not it was not suspended. It was sales. I'm sorry, not sales. Listing restricted. So I could not list new things today.
But change anything on your listings. But things could still get
things could still
sell.
My store was active in selling. Right.
So I'll do the quick story. We had a coin.
It's a penny.
A couple days ago, eBay says this is removed because you're violating currency policies. So they don't say why. Like, well, what's wrong? Is it like just it's against policy? They should be more specific. So we actually went on the forum and Ryan posted the penny and people. It's like I've always said, eBay is like this black building up on a hill.
It's a monolith.
We're villagers down below in just these smoky, igloos made out of hay. And that, we'll like, something will fall out and we're just like,
what is this?
Poking it and we talk about it and we have no idea. So we listed the item thinking we had solved it, but I guess we didn't.
Okay,
because eBay...
I know what it is. So, and people on the forum were super helpful. And actually, Mike from Atlanta, he's going to laugh at me. He was like, just call eBay and ask them. I didn't, because I'm super busy. I didn't have 5 minutes to call them.
And you did change the word that you thought was a problem.
So here's the deal. There's like 5, this is so boring. There's 5 companies that will grade a coin. eBay accepts those 5 companies as graders. My company was not accepted. Okay, number 1. So I took that off the listing. Doesn't matter. But I still called it graded.
Wow.
And they were like, well, you can't say graded and then not have the name of one of the graders.
Right.
So then they took the listing down again and gave me a restriction for selling items.
I want to be clear. They did not tell us
They wouldn't
that.
tell me. No,
they just said it's against policy, and we had to guess what that might be. So you actually called them.
So immediately when that happened, I got on the phone, and I was like, what is up with this? Like, I'm ignorant of these policies. I don't... And they were like, okay, we're going to lift the restriction. That's fine. You obviously didn't know. You're a top-rated seller. You whatever, all that stuff. And I was just like... what do I do with this coin? And they're like, you can relist it, but don't say it's graded. Because basically they're saying, this actually isn't graded.
Right. So, but my point is, when people come on the forum and they say, I've been suspended for a week or something, I always say, figure out the thing they're having problems with and don't do that. So if they do a Vero because there's a Ford hat, a Ford car company hat, just take all those hats down and just stop.
Just don't.
Because
you're on their radar.
It is nothing to fool around with, in my opinion.
Like, look,
as unfair as it is, and we have this long history of selling on eBay and we're good people, it does not matter.
But you know why? Because either somebody flagged my listing, fine, it's not accepted.
Some coin grader. That's not officially correct.
Not officially graded. It's either that or it is purely a robot.
Some eBay robot.
But that's the thing. Like, look, the Vero things are people from those companies flagging them, and they're bots.
Right.
So you're like, the robot is seeing my listing twice and not acceptable. Right. And the person's like, oh, okay, I see what you did wrong. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? Please explain it to me. It's so dumb, so annoying. I'm not relisting it.
Look,
someone want to buy a penny from me?
In our defense,
please.
In our defense, we got on it quickly and we solved it, and I think we're okay. We'll see the next day or two if they whatever, but we should go through all of our listings and make sure there's no more coins
that are ungraded.
Yeah,
unofficially graded.
Anything about grading. Okay, the other thing, and this is about Etsy. Etsy is now pushing free shipping for anything over $35. They say that
get used to it.
But the president of Etsy sent out a big email where they're saying like people want that, so we're going to encourage it. We will prioritize items with if you ship free in search. So really, if you sell on Etsy, that game kind of changes some.
I mean, look, it's exactly what eBay said. It's the industry standard. And you're like, well, it really is, if eBay and Amazon are pushing it, and Wayfair and Walmart and Target. I mean, it's all like Amazon dictated it. They were like $35 plus free shipping.
Yeah.
They dictated that shift. Yeah. And that's just the way it is. And I mean,
although I will say, and I've always said this,
I'm not going to do it though.
With Amazon Prime, you still pay $30
for Prime
a year.
I forget.
And I know you get to watch like videos and you get to ebooks. I mean, that's fine.
Like, whatever.
But really, in my mind, you're paying up front $130. So the hope is they're hoping you're going to not order too much, and they can cover their costs.
Here's a question, because I forget, because we had Prime like a million years ago. If you... On Prime, is it free shipping $35 or is it just always free shipping on Prime?
No, I mean, see, and that's the thing. Like, Prime is always free shipping, but not everyone's Prime. And oftentimes, people who sell as a Prime seller, they will jack the price up because they may be the only seller out there for this thing. So often it's just cheaper just to buy it and it be slower,
Yeah.
It's whatever. It's just another strategy. I get it. But anyway, Etsy is now jumping into...
But, okay, so just to clarify, and this is the same with eBay, Etsy's not requiring you to do that. They're just like, hey, you might get better results this way.
No.
Yeah.
eBay's like, you may blah, blah, blah.
Oh, Etsy's
Amazon's like, we are going to prioritize.
Etsy.
Yeah.
Etsy.
Yeah. We're going to prioritize any person that will sell with free shipping. So they're making it very clear. Mm-hmm. Okay. Gut reaction to the week.
I have not been paying attention to anything that has to do with eBay.
It is definitely the summer for us. This is, I remember we were in Austin a couple, 3, 4 years ago.
Oh my God.
And it was this slow.
I remember we sold like $400 one week. We were like, what?
And this is really that kind of summer for us, but I do have to remind myself, this is why Amazon has a Prime Day in the middle of this summertime.
You're right.
I mean, this is a retail-wide, just we're really feeling it this year. I feel like some summers are slower than others. Like we're down, according to eBay, 20% from a year ago, this time of year.
Lord.
So we sold 27 items.
Oh my God.
Which is about, 4 items a day.
So bad.
And we made $975.
I mean, look, that's
not quite the $1,000 we want. Hopefully next week we'll make $1,025. But we're still averaging, if you look at a month, $1,000. But $1,000 is like our minimum. So we're just kind of like treading a water here. But we will see. Tune in. Why don't we talk again in September? Let's see. Sales always seem to come back where we forget about this and we're selling $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, But these are, if you're a new seller, this is it. Like the girl we met at the auction, she said she had like quit her job because she hated this government job she had. Yeah. And she started to sell in the summertime.
Oh, and she was like, this is not going to work. Is this what it's always going to be like?
I mean, thank God she pushed through, but
yeah. No, I mean, right. And it sucked going to that auction because I was like, I'm going to source all this stuff, all this high end, like gorgeous, beautiful. Yeah. We walked out and we drove to IKEA. Yeah. So you're just like, to spend more money, it's like, oh my God.
Got to spend money to make it. That apartment's almost done. People don't want to hear it, but
I know.
But it's always a slow process to do anything. Things don't happen fast. Okay, things we sold. I mentioned a couple of things. We sold these 3 slide trays, like a photo.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're like so they're not slide trays that you put on like a carousel. They were like these metal, gorgeous, like 1940s boxes that you put the slides in, but they like had a handle.
They're like storage containers, I guess, or I don't know if you like travel with those.
They were $36 each. I had 3 of them. He bought all of them.
Yep.
I was like, yes.
Yep. So that was
I've had those forever.
Now, for me, this guy here.
Forever.
We sold another snow globe for
$25.
So we've made like 2,000% profit already on these on this lot of snow globes. Okay. I just want to say 2,000%.
I want to also say I want credit for pricing them high.
You get so much credit for you were good about figuring out
which ones are the more fancy ones.
Because only
what's funny?
What's that?
This snow globe. It was this little snow globe that I sold. Tiny, like fits in the palm of your hand, right? And it was kind of fancy and like cool, and it was a very specific place. The original price tag was for $8, and I sold it for $25.
I'm telling you. So my thing is, I mean, this is not we're not going to get rich doing this, but it's like such a good feeling when you find this.
Yeah,
people collect snow globes. Like it's just one of those things.
It makes me want to die.
And
that's true.
Someone in these snow globes, someone else had gathered all these, and they're all from different places. Someone else's collection. And someone's going to be like, "Yeah, I need this from like some weird small town in Utah,"
Well,
so I'm your guy.
What I have it $25. Stop. Well, I've sold travel magnets before.
Right.
You're like,
again,
Was you. I'm like, this is like a garbage listing. And they all, I didn't do them one by one. I did like 3 different lots or whatever. And they all sold. Yeah. I'm like, what world do we live in that people are buying this from me?
And then the final thing I'll talk about, I think we should start a part of our podcast where we like, these are losers. So this is a loser. And this is these 2 bird feeders. Oh my. And they're like used and they're so clunky. We got them at an auction like 4 years ago.
Did we use them? Or I think we used them.
And they take up so much room and they finally sold
for $12.
$12.99. So glad they're gone. But you know, they finally sold. You know what? It's not a loser. It's a winner, but no, definitely.
God. Well, I'm glad they're getting off the shelf. I'm not glad I have to pack them because they're like huge. But I have so many boxes right now.
I know.
Listen, people out there, listen to me. I have so many boxes right now that Jay is mad at me.
Right. These are, cardboard boxes.
He's like, you have too many boxes.
We have like a small warehouse. We have all these shelves and we keep the boxes on top of the shelves. And there's a lot of space. They are now...
encroaching.
It's like Tetris, and they're starting to fall
They're falling
So
down.
we need to either flatten them.
I know.
But then that makes it hard to tell what shape they are. Or you just need to be like, Sophie's Choice, which ones stay, which ones go.
I cannot believe that's the comparison you made. That's crazy. So, yeah, that's true. The reason I have so many boxes...
We need them. Right.
Well, number one, I need them desperately. If someone, look, this woman in California bought this 50-inch long piece of artwork the other day. I'm like, I need to keep boxes. This is the reason.
Well, I just need you. I know. Escort me, and we will put them up together so you can be part of the solution.
You know what also is keeping me from doing that? My beautiful step stool ladder that I use to put boxes is over at the apartment for the last month. So I'm like, I need this thing.
We'll bring it back because we used to paint and all that. Okay, Scavenger of the week. Nothing. We tried. Fine. We're doing other things. Okay, customer issues. We gave a buyer a refund.
Oh my God.
He was like, I don't like this item. Send it back. Fine, we give you a full refund. Then what? He opens a chargeback on his credit card, and you know what? He won that too. So he got...
No. Actually, I forgot to tell you this.
You didn't tell me?
Yeah, so, right. I was so mad. I was like, okay, PayPal sends me an email. You lost this chargeback, even though my evidence was that he already got a refund on eBay. And they had a listing of that transaction. So I opened the PayPal resolution case, and they're like, is this the transaction of your refund? I'm like, yeah. So they send me an email that's like, we gave him his money back, and we charged you $20. I was like, what? So I went on PayPal and opened the resolution case, and it says it's still under review. So I don't know if that...
Have you called?
No, I haven't called yet.
Call.
I know, I don't have time. I'll do it. I'll call tomorrow.
Make time.
I know, I will make time, but it was really annoying, and then I was like, it's still under review, and chargebacks take like 60 days, so you're just like, what? It takes forever.
You're so wild.
I've never lost a chargeback because PayPal's like, what?
Look, again, if you're new to eBay, sometimes you have these issues. And PayPal is now a separate company. Yeah. We always find that if you call PayPal,
you have to call,
and you give them the transaction or the refund or the tracking, PayPal's like, okay, cool, we're done. But you have to call.
I don't think. Now, I did, just to be very clear, I did call when the chargeback first came in like a month ago, and they were like, you just have to wait.
Okay.
So I've waited, so I have to call back.
Okay. A lot of drama going on.
It's like it literally is over like $30. I'm like,
yeah,
dude.
But it's like,
I know, it's the principle.
It's about justice.
It's about financial justice.
Right. Okay. I also want to say, because we've talked about it a couple times the past week, we said that there might be a possibility when you schedule a listing that was now free. Because someone found a page on the ebay.com website where it said it's free. And so we were like, but then other people are like, but I see this other page and it's still 10 cents. And this is so if you want to like schedule a listing for like a week from now because you're trying to do something fancy. Anyway, so it looks like someone said it's only free for people that don't have a store.
Oh.
But if you have a store, you have to pay.
That makes no sense. I don't know.
If that's true, that's weird because you would think that if you paid a subscription that it would be free. But anyway, so eBay. I just want to say schedule them at your own peril.
At your own discretion. I have one thing to add that's probably not on the outline that I just put on the forum like an hour ago. So something I have built into my routine of my day, twice a day, is sending offers. So I'm sitting there. I haven't sent offers in a couple of days because we're super busy and stuff. And I'm like, I have 75 offers to send. And I'm like, great. I'm just going to sit here and do this. And then I look on the sidebar and I'm like, can I just select all of these and press send offers? And it's like going to give me some dialogue to be like, take 10% off. Boom. Yes.
Cool.
It is.
Awesome.
I'm like, so I'm sitting there and I said this on the forum. I'm like, have I just been like a complete noob over here and like been doing these one by one the whole time? Or is this new? Someone's got to tell me because I'm like, that just saved me like 45 minutes.
I think that stuff is new. I think that stuff pops up. It's kind of like when their search box suddenly got a big black bar around it. Yeah. And so I just think they just start
I think it's new because I honestly I think I even said it on the podcast. I'm like, why doesn't it just let me do it in bulk? Take 15% off, or because on sale, when you set you're so bored right now. When you set your store to be on sale, you can.
I'm listening.
You can take a percentage off, or you can be like, take $10 off everything.
Cool.
It's the same thing. You can be like, just take off 15%. I don't care, which is what I would always do anyway.
Cool.
I don't have to calculate numbers.
Good.
Oh my god.
So let's just make sure. When eBay does something that helps
you done good.
Be nice to them.
You done good.
It's nice to people. Okay. Before we go to the calls, I was thinking like a tagline for this podcast. We've had it for 5 years now, so I thought let's come up with a podcast tagline. I was weed eating, and I was like, this is it.
Oh my god.
Sell trash, be free. How's that? Like, look, I can sign off every podcast, so I'll be like...
Sell trash, be free. I think you should make a t-shirt. But, yeah, it's funny because I look at stuff we sold this week, and I'm like, it is literal trash.
But it's good.
I mean, $900 on garbage.
Okay, but that's not at the end. So let's answer any questions that were sent in.
Hello, people on the internet. It's Gene from Australia. I just wanted to quickly say that I think it's a good idea if you guys move your forum over to Reddit. It would probably be a lot more easier to find and sign up, etc., etc. I've been locked out of your forums like 2 or 3 times. I'm not sure if that's because I'm from Australia. Also, I wanted to ask, what are some of the best sales you've had that have been free to you? Like something you've found or saved from the trash or whatever. Awesome. See ya.
So we'll just make this real quick. We're kind of like put on hold the idea that we were going to move the forum someplace, especially moving it to a Reddit. A lot of our longtime members, and I see their point, is like moving to a more public place will probably change the kind of conversation. Like if you go to... What is it, thrifting or...
Flipping. On Reddit.
Yeah, on Reddit. It's gigantic, and most of the questions are like,
Talking about video games.
No, just like, I just learned I could sell stuff on eBay. How do I do it? Where do I get started? And
I mean, yeah.
And so we don't mind new people, but it is nice. Like I said, we have this weird little small part of the internet that's kind of difficult to get to, but if you can make it there, the conversations are very... a much more signal than noise. I wish our forum software was better, but I feel like there's enough people that are always there that I don't know why some people are having problems with
I just want to say, and I see this every single day, people try to log in with a username that they think is their username, or even an email that they think they signed up with because they have like 4 different emails. And the forum locks you out if that is not a non-existent username or email. If you get locked out, please message me. I've been working with a couple different people who have 3 different emails and 3 different usernames, and they keep doing these weird combos.
How about this? Could we back off on some of the spam filters?
I don't know how.
Oh, you know.
I'm like, I don't know. That whole lockout thing, I'm like, I don't even know how that happens.
Well, anyway, maybe we can talk to our the guy that runs the thing.
So,
It's okay. We have a good place.
I'm the administrator, and it's tough.
A lot of people we still have great conversations, but for right now, I think we're going to put that on hold. I might look into doing a private
Reddit. You can do a private one.
Reddit, and just
you can do a private one, and you can do one where you have to say yes to it can't just be anyone. You have to like approve people.
Right. I mean, like people have to be.
Right.
Like it, it's going to be like a club where there's like a velvet rope and I say yes or no. So, okay. So his question specifically was, what's the coolest, best thing we've gotten for free that we've sold?
I remember one thing. A vintage Macintosh computer with all the trimmings.
Yep.
Someone had a yard sale and had some Macintosh stuff out, and they're like, oh, we have the entire computer and everything that went along with it, plus it totally works. Do you want it for free? I was like, yes. Yes, I do. They're like, why? I'm like, yes, just give it to me.
And I just think it's nothing like, I wish I had like, this one item we got for free. I think of just all the times we go to New York, and I remember there was this one time where we just went so crazy, and we took the train home, and we had found a luggage that we were shoving stuff into. Yeah. We had like a vacuum cleaner.
We literally had a vacuum cleaner.
And we were getting on the train, and I had like 4 bags on me, and you had 2. And I just remember like it was all free. Yeah. It was in the street, and I was like, this is so awesome.
The great thing about the train from New York, going on the train like that, people just think you're moving. They're like, well, they're just moving to Virginia.
Or, honestly, there are people that travel like in a normal way with like a gigantic,
like just going for weekends,
bag that can barely fit down the aisle with a backpack and a small, and that's just like they're normal. So we just look like normal people.
I remember that it's either that trip or some other one. I was like, see, this is why I love New York. We're in New York, and I'm like, you know what I could really use for this thing and this stuff that we're bringing home is a rolly cart. And you're like, okay, so let me just walk like 6 blocks and just check the trash, and I'll probably find like 3 of them. Because someone's like, oh, the zipper broke on the whatever. And you're like, great, I don't care about that zipper. I just need the wheels to work. And I think I found 2, and I was like, well, I'm dumping this one. This one's better. And I come home, and I'm like, yeah, of course I found one.
Yeah, there is nothing more exciting than just like finding stuff you need.
New York too. I think it was one of the last 2 times we went. I found a color laser printer. I already had one, but this one was better. And I was like, it's free, and the toners are completely full, and it's like compatible with my other printer and like my network. I was like, oh. So New York trash is the best. Okay, that is it for the podcast. Today, you can check out the blog at scavengerlife.com for the forum and stuff. You can leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line, 540-407-8486, or you can email us a question, an audio file, thescavengerlife@gmail.com. All the stuff I usually say that you already know. That's it.
People of the world, sell trash and be free.
We're ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.